Hey, good afternoon, Manchester, New Hampshire, and all the surrounding area. Guess what, folks? We had a very, very interesting candidate who is going to be running for Congress, Burns?
Burns, yep.
Burns, okay. And he's from Bedford, and he's a local choco here in right?
I'm from here all my life.
He got his education all through the area here and all that. So, Dave is here. Dave and I both, and we want to welcome you to our show. And it's going to be your show.
Yep. Well, thanks for having me on.
Can you talk for 2 hours?
Well, I don't see it. 2 hours. Yeah, I can do that. Trust me.
Okay. Great.
It says Norm's community corner, not Bob's community.
Wow. Well, yeah. But I always like to have that person, me like that. Because the one thing I learned was, even though I'm the host, you're the star.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
So one of the questions I am going to ask you is, what made you decide to run for Congress?
So I've always, I've been from a family that's always, public service and political activism has always been part of my family. My mother actually emigrated to the country, and at the time, she was elected. She was the youngest female representative, I think, at the time. And, she was a Republican and an immigrant. She had newly become an American citizen for maybe 10 years or so, 12 years, I think, at that point, before getting elected to state rep in Bedford. My uncles, aunts, my grandfather was always very involved with like Mel Thompson, involved politically. My uncle was county commissioner. My aunt used to be county treasurer. I was first elected to selectmen in Manchester. As you know, it's not the same as aldermen, but we have selectmen that are the voting. Because there's always plenty of positions to get elected to when you're in New Hampshire.
Yeah. And I don't even know half the people that are running.
Right, exactly. So I actually ended up, I think there were nine or 10 people on the ticket. I got top of the ticket that year. It was 2005. It was Frank Ginta, and that actually recruited me to run that year. Then later on, I went to run for Hillsborough County Treasurer. 2008, I narrowly lost to Chris Pappas, and then 2010, I think I beat him by about 19 points. And so, now Chris Pappas and I kind of went back and forth on executive council. Well, one way, really. I got close. I got very, very close, especially the last time. And so now we're looking at a congressional run this year.
I have a strong feeling about that because I think that this is what I believe in, Dave, if you agree, is that people are getting tired of all the BS that's going on in Washington.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's time for a change.
Question.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just the BS in Washington. I mean, let's be honest. It's the BS everywhere. It's elected people, and they speak political speak. And, that's something that you're really not going to hear from me. I don't necessarily come in and throw out all the big red meat things that are the talking points of today and the platitudes. I actually remember one time the union leader, kind of like dissing me at the same time. They said almost I was like too intelligent to run for executive council because I kept talking about real issues and I didn't just throw out the red meat platitudes. Like Chris Pappas used to be really funny. He'd always say he was there to do the people's business. And I was like, well, what the heck does that mean, the people's business?
I didn't know he was executive. That shows how much I know about him. I didn't realize that he was.
Yeah, he was an executive councilor. When we ran against each other, his big issue was he was going to bring a train to Manchester. And I used to tell people it didn't matter whether I was for the train or not. It's not going to happen. We're going to continuously have study after study, and you're never going to see you're not going to see this train downtown. Now, lately, I've been really into biking, and I'm doing these rail trails all the time. And let's face it, we've just ripped up all those train tracks, and now you're telling me you want to put them back. Where are we going to put them? And it's just, it's antiquated technology. Right. It's really not the future of travel.
Right. He used a big word, antiquated.
I learn a big word every time I come on this show.
As I always tell people, I got a West High School education, the very best in the state. Thank you, Robert A. Baines.
My daughter-in-law went to West High School under Robert A. Baines. And she got a very good education.
It was actually, honestly, when Bedford was still here, it was actually a really great school. We had really good programs there, and there was a lot of diversity, at least not so much maybe ethnic diversity, but there was a lot of diversity in the types of classes you could take from these, the AP classes and the very, very tough classes. And, so, I feel fortunate going to a big high school that offered a lot.
How would you work to change the curriculum in this state to make it better?
So, I mean, I wouldn't do anything as a congressman because I think more local control is needed. I mean, I want to get rid of the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. because I don't believe in the one-size-fits-all where, everybody needs to learn the same thing. One of the areas I think a lot of people are disappointed is, and that's the lack of teaching history, or how history seems to change depending on what state you live in. So, because we live in New England, our history is very, I don't know, like English-centric. We really talk about the 13 original colonies a lot and stuff like that, which I think has become problematic for us now because it's like we seem to have forget like the Spanish were like here long before us in places like Florida. But if you're down in Florida, you're going to learn that part of history of the people that were here before, the Pilgrims showed up.
I like your honest answer.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, what I liked was that you didn't give me all the, I'm going to do this. No. I liked what you're up front, honest.
Well, listen, I'm always going to be about more local control, and it's funny when, we start talking about some of these national issues, and I hear Republicans say to well, we need the federal government to do this, and it's like, do you remember that we're supposed to be the party? I realize it's Thomas Jefferson that said, and he was a Democrat, but we're supposed to be the party that says, government that governs least governs best. I'm kind of down with that sort of mentality, and I want to decrease the size of Washington, not increase the size of Washington, D.C.
I kind of like to decrease the size of the legislators in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it can be problematic that there's so many of them, but as population increases, you kind of do like having easy access to your representatives, and we do have access to our representatives, and at least they don't cost us a whole lot of money because we don't pay them anything, essentially. So that's good. I think it's problematic sometimes because we elect so many and that we get people in there and they do crazy stuff. And what I mean? Well, but at times I still miss Steve Valancourt. Yeah.
So. Steve and I never got along too well, but you know what? He was great.
Yeah, I mean, he was very amusing at times, and at times he made national headlines for throwing something completely inappropriate out there.
But he knew what he was doing.
Yes, he did. He knew how to get attention.
And I always found out when Steve Valancourt, all the stuff he brought out about, what was his name?
Buckley.
Yeah. And all of a sudden the computers end up disappearing.
Yeah, that was odd timing. Yeah, that was very odd timing.
Interesting, And Dave here is now a resident of New Hampshire.
Okay, congratulations.
Recent since the beginning of the year from just south of the border.
Yeah, I tell you, one thing about him, he and I agree on a lot of the political issues. We are very outspoken against the Democratic Party. And, I blame both parties. I'm not going to side one party, and I'm not going to side there. All have their axe to grind.
Sure. And then sometimes parties are for one thing one day, and then they completely flip what they're for and against the next day.
I think my biggest appointment was Mike Spence.
Who, Mike Spence?
The vice president?
Mike Pence. Pence, yeah.
Well, I try. It's a small town New Hampshire accent. But I think I was very disappointed in him.
Yeah.
But then again, who am I? People, one vote can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. One vote can make a difference.
One vote, And Dave, what do you tell people to do if you don't like what they're doing?
I tell them all the time. I do it myself. Contact all your elected officials from the bottom all the way up. As a matter of fact, I'm contacting Fearless Leader tomorrow about his appointment to the UN head of religious freedom. I don't know if you read about it.
Oh, no. So this is an appointment that Biden's making for...
to the UN, and this guy's going to head up this religious freedom department or whatever it is. He's a Muslim. I'm sorry. Muslims are not for religious freedom.
It depends on what his background is, but as we've seen from the Biden administration, the Democrats, there's a lot of...
He's purported to have ties to Muslim Brotherhood.
So, see, there you go, and that's an issue. And obviously, we've heard a lot of this coming out from Relish Tlaib and even AOC, the anti-Semitism from them. It's kind of crazy. And then the worst part is, this is what AOC does all the way. I always like to remind people that her last name, in fact, is Cortez. Does she even know who Cortez is? It's like... But she seems to have this ability to try to claim that she's every ethnicity. She's claiming that she's Jewish when she says something anti-Semitic, She claims she's Native American. because she's Puerto Rican. I mean, when Christopher Columbus landed in Puerto Rico, they essentially killed all the Taino Indians. There was about something like 200 of them left in the end. I mean, nobody's Native American from Puerto Rico. I mean, yeah, you might have some Native blood in you, but your people were the conquerors. Your people were the colonizers. And that's what AOC comes from. But she seems to have been able to erase her entire family history, and then she says inappropriate stuff, but then just claims that ethnicity when she says it.
The one thing that would hurt you is when you're running, to be honest with you, is that you're too honest.
Yeah, I've actually been told that before. But I think it works with some people. I mean, I definitely have a tendency sometimes to talk about other things that people aren't talking about. And I don't see that. It's... especially, when we live in the world of Donald Trump now becoming president, that's a guy who just said whatever he wanted to say. And one of the funny things I always say about Donald Trump is that it doesn't really all the time matter what he says, because he can disagree even with himself in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
He can convince himself that whatever he just said, he didn't actually agree with. And sometimes he does have a tendency to put stuff out there because he's looking for what people think around him. And he says, maybe I'll do this or maybe I'll do that. And he's looking for people's reactions sometimes and
he
see
loves
what
it.
Input he gets. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And he made a statement, and I heard it, because I listen to Right Side Broadcasting. And folks, if you want to hear a lot of the Sue stories, I would probably encourage everybody to go on YouTube, Right Side Broadcast.
Right Side Broadcast.
Have you checked them out?
Nope.
Oh, I would encourage you to do that, because it tells it like it is.
Okay.
They have a lot of Trump rallies, and then they had that when they won't let the congressman in the prison.
Oh, yeah, at the border.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the ones that got arrested for the so-called riots.
No, the insurrection. The insurrection.
That was the insurrection.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then all of a sudden there are 4 Capitol police officers that committed suicide.
Yeah.
Question.
Well, it's obviously concerning when you have that many people committing suicide, and I don't really know what the background is. I realize that everybody's trying to pull something political from it.
Yeah.
It was this or was that. Maybe it's a conspiracy. I don't know what's going on there. And I mean, obviously that's something to take a look at. What exactly is going on with the Capitol Police where you do have this high rate? And I mean, that's concerning. I mean, it's concerning when it happens in the military too, I mean, and we do have a lot of suicides in the military. So we have to be making sure that, we're getting the right people there and they're getting the mental health and stuff that they need. But, the Democrats are trying to say it's all because of January 6th. I highly doubt that's what it's all about. I mean, there's obviously other things going on here.
Well, you said George Lambert.
Yes, I do.
He had a gentleman on with him that was actually got beat up at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
He had a scar on his head.
Wow.
He got
That's terrible.
beat up by the BLM and the Antifa. And he's definitely not a Democrat, he's a Republican and all that. And he actually talked about him getting beat up and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I find it interesting. If people don't have anything to hide, be an open book. Mm-hmm. Like with you have nothing to hide.
Oh, I'm sure I got something to hide.
No, I'll find out when I do the cards on you.
You don't know where my good fireworks are.
Oh, you'd be surprised. I'm not.
We have legal bottle rockets now in New Hampshire. That was one of the things Sununu did. I used to love bottle rockets as a kid, and they were legal in New Hampshire. And of course, I never had them.
Right. Okay. That's like I used to tell them. Remember the caps you used to buy for a cap?
Oh yeah.
And those are I fired.
Hit them with the right.
In a small town, And but.
Oh, I remember as a kid we had something called an M80, and I know you cannot get it anymore.
Oh,
they're 100% illegal. But I remember getting my hands on those. I was way too young that I should have had M80s. And I think they even showed us one of those PSAs in school about a kid who blew off his hand with an M80.
Yeah. Well, I went over in Bedford about 5 years ago, I think, and my friends Susan and Paul and their children had a birthday party for me, and they set off fireworks. Yeah. And it didn't take long for the police to come to see what was going on. Yeah. And it was so thrilling. I have been, like with you, I have been so blessed by the people that are around me, okay? And I also say, one of the things that I am pleased with is the medical care that we get in New Hampshire. I'm not happy with the insurance,
right?
but I am happy with because I went over about 3 months, almost 4 months ago, and had to have surgery. They had to take cancer out, so I'm cancer-free now.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay. And when and like with life, if you're going into life with a positive attitude, that's it. You're going to come out.
Sure.
Right, Dave?
That's right, exactly right.
One of the things I'm also looking at, I do see you meeting a companion. I see you meeting a companion.
Meeting a in my future. You see that from the you haven't even taken your tarot cards out yet.
I don't need to. You want to go first, Dave? May he go first?
Yeah, sure.
If you want a reading, sure.
$450.
Well, all right. Shuffle the cards. Get your energy on them. Knock yourself out whenever you want to stop. Stop. You want to cut them up.
Next congressman. He's going to show Pappas who the boss is.
I mean,
so, and I'm going to let him do everything. Watch. All right. Now, spread them out. And so this is sort of general. Give me how many? 5 cards, one at a time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 2 more. And all right, make this one be really good because this is how we're going to end up. All right.
He's going to end up in the pits of hell.
All right.
let's hope.
All right. So we start off with the Ace of Swords. Aces are good. Aces are beginning points. Swords are thoughts, your thought process, those types of things, issues. So it's very good. So here we are. See, you're running for
Congress.
running for Congress. So here it is. It's the beginning of the whole thing. Get your whole thing together. It's nice. It's solid. You're going to be amazed at the things that come to you when you start this process. It's going to be really easy for you. You think, if you get sort of, well, shall we say, a little bump in the road, you might get a little confused, maybe a little hesitant. What do I do now? Don't fret. Just relax. I'm telling you, all of a sudden, from 1 second to the next, it'll all make sense. It'll all come to you. You'll have no worries there. And you keep on. I love the way they come. So here we are. The King of Pentacles. Pentacles is, work. It's materialistic things. But as you can see in this card, how fruitful everything is. Everything is paying off. And it's because you got a nice solid foundation. You're not doing anything quick. Everything's been thought out. Sort of what direction you want to take. Of course, your honesty, which we talked about earlier. It sort of follow it as opposed to sort of trying to resist. When you're getting a message from yourself, follow the message as opposed to, you say, well, I know it's telling me to do this, but I want to do that. That's where you run into trouble. And here we are. So 7 of rods. As you can see, it's one person. We can say that's you. All right? There's obstacles in the way. They're nothing major. They're minor. As you can see, it doesn't look like anybody's sort of really beating themselves up or getting beat or getting exhausted over it. You have the upper hand. You can overcome the obstacles. It's nice. There's a lot of strength there. You've got a lot of strength. I can see it in you. There might be a little sort of, rocky sort of times, but not really. Again, there's nothing major here. Really, what you're on, it's an easy road. Just don't resist your gut feeling. You're going to be fine with that. And here we keep going again.
Another rod. I got lots of.
No, this is swords. This is swords.
Oh, those are swords. Oh, I didn't see the
They're
swords.
They're swords, right? But here we go again. So we'll say, all right, the person in the boats, they're not looking back. So that's what you do. Don't look back, look forward. You know, we all have a past. Things maybe didn't go right. We'll say, I know I've heard you mention you've run before for different offices and whatever. So, you know, don't look back, look forward. It's clear sailing. You can see it. You got a good sort of backing panel, shall we say, or, you know, people that are backing you on your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your campaign, right. Your campaign managers and directors and all that. It's all, you'll see, it's going to be even go better than you think. And of course, here we are at the end, Knight of Pentacles. You got all this nice, fresh, vibrant energy that's helping you meet your goal. You can see Knights, lots of action. It's good. It's all this nice, fresh energy going forward. And as you can see him, what is he's holding up? He's got his pentacle up there. He's real proud. He knows what he's doing. This guy's going places with, you know, he's putting in work naturally, but this person is going places. And not only that, you could see he's got armor on. So, and you're well protected, but you're surrounded by the right people. So.
Oh, very good. So the future looks bright.
Yeah. So actually, I'll do yours a little well. Actually, your grandfather on your father's side is very proud of you.
I hope so.
Okay, because you were kind of like following the family tradition, like with your mother being political. Your dad isn't as political.
So he, I mean, he was involved and with my mother's campaigns and stuff like that. But I mean, he let's see, he was elected to the last constitutional convention for the state of New Hampshire. That would have been like 82, I think. So, you know, I mean, he's been involved in. It's tough not to be someone involved in politics in New Hampshire.
Not like you are.
Yeah. No, not at my level. No.
Yeah. But actually, I am really that my son, who I never expected, is really very involved in the Trump. He wants, you know, in the Trump Foundation, the Republicans and like that too. Is your mother still alive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But she's supporting you 150%.
Sure.
Okay. So, now one of the things that is most important in any campaign, I don't care, is family support.
Yep.
Okay. If you have a lot of people that are supporting you and relatives.
Sure.
I'm actually looking at you had relatives from beyond that are giving you a lot of encouragement. But you don't always listen to your spirit or your angels. That you want to be pretty stubborn. You want to do it your way.
Well, it sounds like me.
Okay. And sometimes you mess up, but you always manage to get it out. Okay. And if the one thing about you, if you make a mistake, you're the first one to admit it.
I don't know if that's completely true. Yeah, I admit all my mistakes, right, Sean? Okay. Yeah. Eventually.
That's all right. That's his yes voice. We have a guy that's hiding in the audience here. That's his yes voice. No, but the one thing
you're like the Mr. Snerdley on this show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like about you are a go-getter.
Yeah.
If you tell someone that you're going to find a way to help them, you will.
Sure.
Okay. And I think that's important. You're not all talk.
Sure.
Okay. And if someone calls up and says, hey, I'm a vet, what can you do to help me? You know, you will guide them, whether you're a congressman or whether you're a private citizen or whatever. You're always helpful to them. Even though there are times when they'll exaggerate the truth, shall we say, but you're going to see through it and you're going to say, okay, now I will help you if you're honest with me. Okay? And, by the way, I do see a big increase in your business.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay, I really do. I'm looking at, I'm like 25 to 30% more of an increase.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you guys are dedicated, you work hard, and you take care of the people. Okay? Your father, how old is your dad?
My dad is, he was born in 1948, and so we're, so he must be 74, 73, 74, yeah.
Because I see him. He's still working, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We still work together. We own a business together. Yeah. So in manufacturing.
He's still the head honcho.
Well, we have very different roles in the business. He does, he was an accountant by trade.
Right.
So he takes care of the bills and the finances.
But you make him feel important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I couldn't do it without him. He does one half the business. I do the other half of the business.
Yeah. And well, Friday I'll be 76.
Oh, congratulations!
So, I enjoy my life more now than I ever have. I got more energy. You know what Hands Across the Merrimack is? Mm-hmm. Okay, I walk that every morning between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. I love walking in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes Monday we'll do it.
Right, yeah, we will.
And I like listening to the birds. And I meet a lot of homeless people.
Yeah, I would imagine that
and
area.
You know what? Most of them are very happy and very content where they are. Not all of them.
Right.
I talked to a guy the other day, and he says, I don't need an apartment.
Right.
He says, I'm happy the way I am.
Yeah.
Okay? And I said, well, what about the social workers that the government had to apply? He said, what social workers? And he really is. He's very happy. He has a tent. He's very happy living in that tent. Do we have a right to force them into an apartment if they don't want to go?
Well, no, I don't think that you can force them to apartment. Obviously, there's some public way management, though, that's an issue. I mean, when you have people that are, living in front of people's businesses and, the things that go along with it and the drug usage and stuff. I mean, people have a right to be able to have a business, and people have a right to be able to patronize those businesses without being harassed and stuff. And I realize that's not all the homeless people, but obviously there's a certain level of that out there. And yeah, I mean, some of these guys are living on the islands in the Merrimack and they just want waterfront property. Now, one of the issues that I have with that is, every once in a while, one of them, gets lost for a while, goes somewhere and sleeps it off, and I see a helicopter going up and down the Merrimack looking for him, and we'll spend $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. Now, that being said, the Air National Guard needs to train on search and rescue anyway and stuff like that. So I was like, when somebody says it costs the government this much, and I was like, yeah, I know, but they do training stuff all the time that costs the government that much. So there's two ways of looking at it, but sometimes these do cost us a lot of money. And I mean, we do live in this certain society that if somebody goes for a swim in the river and disappears for 3 hours, we send out a helicopter. And I'm kind of glad that I live in a society that does that, but at the same time, what if somebody else is having an actual emergency and needed that helicopter, and that's problematic. So we do need to find a balance. This has been an issue now. There's this guy being kicked out of his log home, and
I read that.
Well, what's interesting to me is it seems to me if he'd been living there for 20 plus years that you have that I forget what it's called. It's not homesteading rights, but it's we have the ability, once you've been using a piece of property for X number of years and they haven't tossed you off of it, doesn't it kind of belong to you at a certain point?
Squatter's rights.
Yeah, it's like a squatter's rights type thing. So I
actually think he could. I don't see him moving.
Yeah. So it's like national news right now.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You know what's going to have people that send donations to pay for
probably. Yeah, right.
Because people like to be bleeding hearts.
Right.
When I walk down the street, and my favorite thing is, hi, how are you? And let people know that you care about them. Do I wear my mask? No. Only when I go in a market basket or when my daughter-in-law, out of respect, because she and my son both had the virus. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I refuse to take the shots.
Yeah.
But that should be my right.
Mm-hmm. And it is.
And I don't. Now they want to send the vans out with social workers to give you. No, not me. I'll wear my Daisy Duke shorts but I'm coming to the door. That will shake them.
Yeah, there you go.
Especially if I age, But I don't want my rights trampled on.
Yeah. I think the way that they did the vaccine, and they're very patronizing to people, and I think that actually that's hurt people getting it, because I think if you try to sell something so hard to people that's supposed to be good for you, then that actually builds up mistrust. And I think that that's one of the problems. And it became so political at first, too, because you had, the Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, she wasn't the Vice President. She was running for office. She said she wasn't going to take the Trump vaccine. because it was rushed.
Right.
Then as soon as, Joe Biden's president, then they're taking the vaccine, but it's no longer the Trump vaccine now, and it's...
And they showed us Biden, they took a picture of Biden getting the shot.
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing in that.
And I mean, Pfizer has definitely just been out for profits. Scott Gottlieb, who used to be the chair of the FDA, I mean, he's trying to push the booster shots now. Clearly they're looking at their bottom line. That's the other thing too. But.
Well, Kamala's husband is the head attorney for the large pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's...
So that, It's sad that people... I thought about the universal medical, and I'm not sure if I go along with it or not. How do you feel about universal medicine?
Well, I like having a certain level. First, one thing when it comes to healthcare is that one of the things that we forget is almost like not quite half, but a large percentage of Americans, and it's close to half, is on some sort of government healthcare. I mean, whether you're working for the schools, whether you're on Medicaid, whether you're on Medicare, whether it's veterans, VA, the government, because I used to be county treasurer. So what do you think the county spends its money on? At the end of the day, it's healthcare. So, I mean, the two largest bylines is the Valley Street Jail and the nursing home. That's all healthcare. I'm sorry, putting somebody in jail is healthcare. Every person in prison is on government healthcare. And so then I always find it funny that when people start talking about a universal healthcare system or government healthcare system, they go, I say, well, everybody except you is on government healthcare. Start to think about it. And that's problematic in its sense itself. And then our government has no real buying or negotiating power when it comes to the healthcare. So you look at government as being the largest consumer of pharmaceuticals, yet we don't really have the buying power because not one central government agency is making the deal with the pharmaceutical companies to, let's say, buy insulin for the 50% of Americans on government health care. And honestly, if they did that, then we would be able to get lower prices just like that they do in Europe and Canada and stuff like that. And we as Americans do pay the most. And I've also presented this to even liberals at times and say, well, Americans are paying for the bulk of research and development. We pay for all the new drugs, and we also help to offset the cost for the third world. Well, if you're a liberal and you truly believe in socialism, then don't you think it's good that the pharmaceutical companies are charging the richest people in the world, which are Americans? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but this is something that I present to people as a thought exercise. And it's I thought you were for helping to subsidize African countries so that they can get HIV medication, because that's what we do as Americans. We are subsidizing them. And we are paying for new drugs. And I'll tell you, because I have friends who are diabetic, and, the new insulins, yes, it's very expensive. But, insulin today doesn't need to be refrigerated. It can last for months without being in a refrigerator. I mean, I remember being a kid, and my Nana used to keep her insulin in the refrigerator, and it was good for 30 days. And, you had to throw it out. Now they have these injectable pens that they last for 2 years and don't need to be refrigerated. I mean, it's really some of the amazing things we do. And when you look at pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and everything that we spend in America, I mean, much of the disease that we have is essentially preventable.
Absolutely.
I mean, myself included, whether it's blood pressure, statins, cholesterol, diabetes, obviously not for everybody it was preventable. Obviously some people are born with type 1 diabetes, but for the vast majority of Americans, all of that was preventable. Everybody made conscious choices to live unhealthy lifestyles because in the future the pharmaceutical companies would come up with the pill to cure you, and pill isn't actually the correct word, but
I have a friend who is not there now. Mm-hmm. He would drink a 2-liter bottle of soda.
Yeah,
then give himself a shot.
Yeah, right.
So and I blame myself because the doctor tried to warn me 10 years ago to take care of my diabetes problem. I'll take care of it. Yeah. But ice cream in the boat, now my sugar level is pretty cool because I'm taking care of it. I get a pill in the morning, I take one at night. Yeah. Eventually, I know I'm not going to have to. And I also lost 55 pounds.
Oh, congratulations.
But when they removed the cancer, surgery for cancer has come a long way. My mother died of cancer. My whole family all died of cancer. And when I think about the progress that they have, I was in surgery. It's supposed to be 3.5 hours. I was in there for an hour and a half because I had Reiki energy done, you know. And the doctor was fantastic, you know. And if you look at the medical field, and if the doctors would have more personality, like the one I had, I was blessed, and make you feel like you want to have them take care of you. I think that would be a whole new ballgame as well. But the cost is so exuberant.
It is, and there's a lot I think that we can do about bringing down the costs. And there's, again, and the problem is when I talk about healthcare, it's like everybody's, you're Republican. It's like, well, everything needs to be private. And the problem is everything's not private, because when you start off with a world, and I say, well, whose healthcare should we take away? Should we not pay for teachers? Should we not pay for police? Should we not pay for the people who were in jail? Constitutionally, I don't think we'd get away with that, even if you said yes. We have the county nursing homes, and so it's like you start going through this list. You take away the health care for the veterans, and you start going through this list, and it's like, well, no, the government should pay for this one, and I guess that one, but maybe not this one. And then I say, well, what if we were able to give, certain basic health care to people, and it was actually going to be a lot cheaper, because there was some basic stuff that we could do.
Don't hit the mic anymore.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. What?
Well, I have to use it. There you go.
There's a lot of stuff with new technology that we can do now to help with the cost of healthcare, like being able to find what different hospitals charge for simple procedures and what time is best to go there. So obviously getting a simple procedure done on a Friday is always going to be more expensive than a Monday morning, because there's a lot of people who want to get their procedure done so that they can go back to work on Monday. Okay, but if you don't have anything to do, if you're a retiree or whatever, and you're getting a knee replacement, it should be easier to research and to find where you can get those basic cares. And that's one of the things that we really need to be doing with Medicaid recipients, because as we know, these Medicaid recipients can walk into emergency rooms and get no bill. And that's the most expensive thing that you can do, is just or to call an ambulance. I mean, we had a situation with a Democrat state rep from Nashua. She needed a ride across the city, and she called an ambulance because instead of, calling Uber, because she was on Medicaid. And
Wow.
So when you have stuff like that going on, that's Medicaid abuse, but that's where a lot of this money is going. It's so easy and simple to reduce the costs and to even give some basic health care to everybody without breaking the bank.
The one thing I will say about the Hillsborough County Nursing Home, I worked there years ago in nursing.
Okay.
And it was one of the best ones I ever worked in.
Yeah, no, and everybody says so. I mean, they get, when they do reviews, they get five stars out of 5.
And they're claiming they've gone downhill now. I don't see it. I mean, the staff there, they treated people like they were human.
Yeah.
God, it hurts me to be nice. but
So funny enough, my first job was right across the street.
On that jail?
So it was the piggery, the pig farm. I used to know
really?
the guy. Yeah.
Oh, there was a farm there?
Yeah, there's a farm. Yeah, it's a county farm.
Oh, really?
It was a farm.
Because I got my nursing into Merrimack County Nursing Home. And she just said they had a pig. They had a farm there that was active. And all of a sudden the ALUC got into it and said, you can't make these prisoners work. And they like going out there and work.
Oh, yeah.
They like making their bread.
We used to bring the guys up from the jail to do maintenance and stuff, but we never did anything big with them. The 4-H did a little bit with farming across the street, but I worked down at the piggery where we had gun dogs. Yeah. And we used to train gun dogs out back.
Wow.
Oh. Welcome to North Community Corner.
Hey, old fat, how are you?
I am just fine. How are you?
What's with the bow tie today?
Well, I thought I would be stylish today.
Oh, you said you had problems getting into Tuckins last week?
Into what?
Tuckers? Tuckins?
Tuckers? What?
Tuckers, yeah.
Tuckers, like...
You mean the restaurant, Tuckers?
Restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't have trouble getting in. It was the trouble that I had was, it was another restaurant, and if you wear a Trump hat, like in Tuckers, they did not treat me very well. And when I went to Applebee's, I did not get treated very well.
You didn't
either.
get treated well at
Horribly
Applebee's?
in App. Oh, because you had the
Yeah,
mega
I had my
hat
Trump
on.
hat on. I will say the food was good at Tucker's,
Yeah.
but they
Which one did you
also.
go to?
I'm sorry.
Which one did you go to?
I went to Tucker's in Raymond. Is that where it's located?
Yeah, I don't know. They're up near Lincoln, or I
Yeah.
think there are two locations.
Yeah. Okay. Now one down towards Raymond, I think, or whatever. And then I went to Applebee's on 2nd Street.
Well, Tucker's is in Hooksett.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I was getting them all. I'm thinking about. No, in Tucker's in Hooksett. Yeah.
Is that
that's
the-
the one where I went into trouble. I had my Trump T-shirt on,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't wait on me.
Wow.
They just wouldn't wait on you?
No.
That
they,
sounds like discrimination.
They would, but I'm a Trump person. What can you say? You
Can
know.
you do that?
Yeah, I was there, and then
And,
I went again
Dave,
without any Trump.
Here's a question for Dave. I want to know where do you work with as a bartender?
You don't have to reveal.
Right. I work in a private club.
Which one?
I'd rather not say for everybody to hear because I wouldn't be able to wait on everybody in one shift if they all showed up.
There you go.
Oh,
Why? But if you
I
want to,
wanted to come over and have a couple of drinks with you.
well, we can meet downtown. I love having cocktails or a couple of beers. Let's, pick a place downtown. We'll go.
Yeah, that your brother?
I can't.
I'm sorry.
I have to stay home. I can't. I'm isolated.
Oh, okay. Well, if you ever can find a way, you're more than welcome to come to the TV studio and come on our show. Do you have any questions for Bob?
What's he running for?
Congress, District 2. So it's because of redistricting. It's very. I assume that you live in Manchester, although I'm making a lot of assumptions.
Yep.
Okay, so probably Manchester will be in District 1. There were some rumors about moving it to 2. I think it's extremely unlikely. But I used to be the Hillsborough County Treasurer way back in the day, 2010 to 2012.
Okay. I just tried to find out why he was wearing a bow tie and what restaurant you get thrown out.
Oh, okay. Well, I was actually, in a very polite way, I'll put it. But the one after, she was really quite rude.
She was.
She really was.
Well, I have a restaurant story. I used to work at Margaritas underneath us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long
We have
ago was
okay
that?
food.
Like 10,
Well, thank you,
over
sir.
10 years ago.
Bye-bye now.
Okay. Have a good night.
Good night.
Yeah. Oh, my friend. You know Gary Hopper?
Yeah.
Oh, my
horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah.
He's Is that in where?
Paper,
right?
yeah,
paper,
rocket hand grenade.
paper, rock and hand. Yeah.
He came in when we went in the studio in there.
Yeah.
Because we used to be able to bring food in and stuff. He brought in some nachos with dip. He didn't tell me they were hot.
Oh yeah.
So I dipped in there, and let me tell you. Whoa. You should have heard him. Gary and I are very good friends as well,
They were from Margaritas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to make the nachos there.
I like the one in Salem better than the one up here.
So I started at the one in Keene, and then I kind of switched over to this one for a little while before I got into what I do now. I think it was kind of the last job I had before I worked in pharmaceutical manufacturing. So I mean, what I do is I work in all manufacturing that makes anything tableted, but it's my main customers are pharmaceutical companies. But I also produce like candy. So like Tic Tacs, Pez, if you're familiar with both of those.
Yeah.
Those two are my
Pez.
customer. So Ferrero Rocher makes Tic Tacs. They're one of my customers. Your airbags, the explosives inside your airbags, those are made by a company called Autoleave. It used to be Morton Thiokol. They make Morton Thiokol used to make rockets, like ICBMs and stuff.
I know, one of the
By the way, you have a website?
explode that way.
Was that?
You have a website?
I do. It's Burns4NH, and you can either spell that FOR or with an NH. So it's BURNSFORNH.com. So either with an FOR or the number 4. That's what I meant to say.
Okay. Now, do you accept donations?
Absolutely. I'm always looking for money.
Okay. Well, I count my money this way.
Yeah.
And I cry this way.
Yeah.
But so, if they wanted, one thing that I got to tell you folks, the first time I contacted them, immediately he contacted me back.
Yeah.
Within an hour or two, I remember correctly.
Wow, that's a good sign.
It's almost
a
like
good
I'm,
sign.
it's almost
That's
like I'm
honesty.
looking for attention.
It is.
Yeah, you know.
That's a good sign.
Are you ready, sir?
I am. I'm ready to find out my future. It's kind of unfair, though. I mean, the other candidates don't have that going on. They won't
They
know
have
what their
that choice.
futures are.
I've done a Don Baldwin
Oh, did you do Don?
and Matt Mayberry
Yeah.
and Ross Terrell.
Yeah, Russ.
He's a great friend of mine. Okay, I'm going to have you take out 5. One of the things I'm seeing with you is you enjoy watching other people think they know it all. And you're very silent, but you don't say a whole lot. You just walk away with a smile.
Oh, I've been accused of that
Okay.
many times, just not talking.
Yeah. And the one thing that I also know about you is that if they don't want to know the truth, don't come to you.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm like Socrates, the allegory of the cave. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Yeah. You have a strong political future.
Thank you.
Don't be discouraged.
I'll try not
Okay.
to.
Because I actually do see you possibly running for governor eventually.
Wow. Don't tell Chris.
We have a lover's card.
Whoa,
Whoa.
Okay.
that's a good start.
Yeah. You are actually a very compassionate person.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you're not ready for any type of serious relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're single, right?
I am single.
Make sure you know. but you're also, because you also feel that you need to devote your time to the career that you have chosen, which is okay. And you wouldn't be fair to the person you may be committed to or married to or whatever, okay? So I think that by you being freelance, and you don't date a whole lot, you're more into taking care of what you need to take care of. You're actually very shy around women.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. You can be very easily become introverted.
Mm-hmm.
But your political career is what keeps you going. Plus you do a lot of work with your business to make sure it's going to increase, because you're a go-getter, whether it's in the political field or whether it's employment field. I also see, do you want to sell your business?
If someone came with the right offer.
Because I do see that happening.
Well, that might be a good thing.
It would be, because between being in Congress and having your business, it could be a very difficult.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Actually, being elected has put a lot of concerns about what to do with the business, because it's actually very profitable, but it's a very small business.
Yeah.
And getting the right people to run something like that's kind of tough. There's a few good leads that I think that I have of people who'd want it. But
Absolutely. One thing about you is you know people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know who's going to BS you and who's not going to BS you. Okay. By the way, you need glasses.
Yes, absolutely, I do.
You're running from Congress isn't going to stop you from rear-ending somebody.
Yeah. So, honestly, the older I've gotten, my eyesight actually got slightly better. I've always been at like that 20/40, so like I can always sneak through like the test. But and then the other thing too is sometimes I have a little bit of a light sensitivity. So like when there's bright lights, I notice my vision goes down. So like in this area right here, my vision definitely goes down. But then like at night, my vision's great. Which for people, they say when they get older, at nighttime they say they can't see anything. I actually have great vision at night.
Yeah. Oh, not me.
Reminds me, I could see great like
Yeah.
this.
No, it's like this. It's like too much for me.
Wow.
When I used to drive, I used to close my eyes when I drive over a bridge.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
It was. But that's why I know the spirit was watching over me, because I was terrified of it, But when I was DW, never got busted for DWI, and all the times I should have, That's when you know you're being watched
I think
over.
that's one of the unfortunate things. I mean, that's the way it is. But.
It would have been, I would have deserved it. But I'm just grateful I didn't.
Yeah.
One of the things I do see also is you're investing in more property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think that the investment in the more property would be like an investment for you to build your own house or something like this. Okay. Do you have a brother?
No, no longer. I did.
He passed over, right? Okay. He's with your grandmother and grandfather on both sides. Okay. He was a good man. No?
No, yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love
Okay.
my brother. It's just,
okay.
it's a.
He had his emotional problems
Sure.
like everybody else, but he's really making amends for what he's done wrong. And I also will tell you, your dad still misses. I mean, you all still miss him. Okay. Your dad is going to be around till he's like 97 or 98 years old.
You'd be surprised.
Okay. This business is keeping him going.
Oh, yeah, no, he wouldn't know what to do.
Because he looks forward to it. Because
between having to run this business and golf 3 days a week, I'm not sure what he would do with his time.
If he sat down, if he sat down and say they took, he would just give up. Your mother's also pretty active.
She's active in like calling me up all the time. Yeah.
But if she did, you would worry. Mm-hmm. Okay. And does she have early dementia?
No, my mom's always been that way.
Okay, be prepared. Okay. Oh, your mother. Well, you're her baby. Mm-hmm. Okay. You're the one who she depends on.
No, well, that's probably
she depends
true.
on more on you than she does her own husband. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's okay because it makes you feel important too.
Yeah.
One of the things I do see you doing is caring for the elderly people when you go in. You got to make sure that like the elderly people get the care they should be getting. Like when you are working for the Hillsborough budget committee or whatever. Okay, you were more concerned about the care and to make sure they can financially afford to take care of them. Okay. You have a credit card, I assume.
Yes, I have many credit cards.
I want you to be very careful of one of the major ones because I can see somebody zero in on it and charging things on you that aren't yours.
Okay.
Okay? And I've usually been pretty right on that.
I'll stay on top of that.
No, please do. Because you don't always double check. You just pay the bill.
No, I don't. I'm terrible about it.
Okay. And stop throwing your receipts away in the stores.
Well, I'm pretty good because I keep a big box of them waiting for the IRS.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, they got to have their way.
Yeah.
And don't be at all surprised if you and your business get audited.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said, my dad was an accountant, and I think we're pretty good at, honestly, compared to most people, especially people who run their own businesses, we would do pretty well with an IRS audit.
And I'm just saying they're going to try to, and you know what party I'm talking about without saying any
No,
names.
they've used the IRS. They weaponized the IRS.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was funny. Did you know Boris Johnson was an American citizen?
Yeah.
And the reason that he's no longer an American citizen is because during the Obama administration, he sold his house or something, and the IRS actually went after him for like capital gains or something, and so he actually had to rescind his citizenship then. So if you're a citizen of the United States, so he was born American because he was born in the United States, you have to continue to pay federal income tax, and file with the IRS, but many people don't do that. So like your parents came here, they had you, they went back to China, wherever, and yeah, you have to keep paying your taxes.
Oh yeah,
we'll come after you.
Yeah, and I find it interesting is we're founded on we should have no taxation for representation.
Yeah.
And now the taxes have gone all way out of proportion.
Of course, those people living abroad as American citizens don't really have representation, do they?
No. There was a family that lived in Ware that lives in England, but I guess they have a home in Ware, New Hampshire. And she would tell me how she had to pay a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's complicated keeping American citizenship. I mean, the funny thing is I know that most people who do have American citizenship don't pay their taxes that are living abroad. There's many people living abroad that don't. I think people who lived here at one time and they got into the IRS's system continue, but I think there's a lot of people that were like in Boris Johnson's situation where sometimes these people didn't even realize that they were Americans. I mean, it was I mean, technically, guys like anyway, there's people that had gotten born here or to an American parent that lived abroad all their lives, and technically they've had citizenship, but if they're not in our IRS system, then they just sneak through. Yeah. But at a certain point, if you find out about it, the IRS can go after them.
Yeah, that's like I really think that Ed Brown from Lebanon or that and that.
Oh Ed Brown.
I think he got shafted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever happened to old Ed?
He's still in prison.
He's still in prison?
They get him for so-called terrorism or whatever. And like that man, they named a gun bar after up in Moultonboro because he had a gun and pointed at some lady going on his property.
Yeah, that was right. What was his name?
Yeah.
That she was, and She then got later arrested for like
Yeah.
dog animal breeding stuff,
yeah.
inhumane, like something to dogs. She was very there was something wrong with her too.
And he went to prison, and
Yeah.
yet they named a bill after him.
Right.
And I'm sorry, if I'm going to go
he
to
got
prison,
pardoned,
you're
I
not
think.
gonna,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you name a bill after me. I mean, he lost his right to own a gun.
Right.
You know, so what am I going to?
For pointing it at someone, but I thought that was...
So there's twofold to it, and I don't remember everything. He had gotten in trouble with something with a gun earlier at the time. He was drunk in Laconia or something and shot off a gun that went off somewhere. So he got in trouble once for it. But this woman came onto his property, and he said that she was acting all erratic. And he essentially just said he showed his weapon to her. Yeah. And then she took off, called the police. Police showed up. They arrested him for essentially criminal threatening. He felt he was on his own property. But she had a very shady past as well. And she definitely was not all there. There was something wrong with her. So I'm really surprised that they were able to convict him in court. And I assume because I wasn't there, but it's pretty tough to get a 12-man jury to convict you. I mean, it really is in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Well, somebody did a good job.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's. Well, I think it can be sometimes the way that you act when you get in court. And if he felt that he was in the right, and maybe didn't come across too great to the jury, and maybe I don't know if she was even brought up, whether they used her or not. But anyway, it was a weird situation. We're not going to know
the whole truth.
Yeah, it was a weird situation. But he got pardoned, I think, right? Yeah. They rescinded it, or
but he still can't.
Yeah.
You have what I like to call, people call it inner beauty. Mm-hmm. You have such a beautiful, strong, caring aura about you that you really do care for people. That just don't piss you off. Okay, but you get over it very quickly. No. Okay, you don't know how to hold a grudge. Okay, you may think you do, but I'm telling you, no, you don't. Okay. But yet you can be the person who may do something to you or hurt you one way or the other. You're like I am. You can be very nasty nice. Mm-hmm. And then when they get home, I think he just insulted me. I'm not sure.
Probably.
It's fun.
That sounds like the people I insulted.
Yeah.
They would never be sure that I did it.
No. Don't you like that? Okay. Speaking of a demo player, you're going to have like 2 or 3 teeth filled.
Oh, no.
Okay. When you brush your teeth, you're like a jackhammer. Mm-hmm. You
got that
take off your
electric
enamel. Yeah. And you want to take that enamel off your teeth, all that grunt and stuff. I love it when I tell people that they run their tongue all over their teeth or whatever.
My dentists have been telling me that for years. I still have enamel, so.
Yeah.
I also don't see you with cancer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
I do see you're borderline diabetic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can be very careful.
That's what they've been telling me for a while.
And I also see you losing 30 pounds.
Oh, that would be great.
But you got to do it. You got to want to do it. I know all those food that you go to with a campaign, they have food there, right, in most of the places. All that delicious food and all
I don't think that it's always the food that's there. Sometimes because when you go, you don't eat, but then you want to eat afterwards.
And you make up the...
And my campaign manager, he's a bottomless pit of hamburgers. It's unbelievable. I mean, he works for me also in my private business, and I was just looked at one day, and I was like, Sean, I spent $1,000 on hamburgers last month. How is this possible?
Wow, he like that. Tell me he doesn't go to McDonald's.
Oh, no, no. He's a Shake Shack, Chick-fil-A.
I've never been to Chick-fil-A.
Oh, he loves Chick-fil-A.
They're good, that good, huh?
They are good. I've been once when I went to Dallas.
Okay.
Well, he's also a master of getting, he's a master of, basically couponing. He's a part of all the apps.
Good for him.
And he gets all the free food and stuff like that, so.
I get an order from McDonald's, and they cheated me out of a couple of things, so I called up the headquarters.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're going to give you a wholesome family meal coupon. They gave me 2 coupons, 2 small French fries.
Oh, wow.
I mailed them back to them.
Yeah.
I said, you might need to give them to somebody who might deserve it, One of the things I know is that when they increase that they want to raise the hourly minimum wage, are you in favor of $15 an hour?
No, here's my biggest problem is there's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to states for state. And by the way, right now, so I went to a local barbecue place, and I wish I could give them a shout-out online if I could remember their name. But I can't remember the name. It's actually not that far from where I live. They're over in Londonderry. And anyway, great. They had right there when I walked in, they're looking to hire at $16 an hour. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, it's like we're past that of even a 15, where some people are making more, some people are making less, and it's like, yeah, if you want to put in the bare minimum, you're going to end up at those places. They're going to pay you less, like 12 and 13. But I mean, I saw Dairy Queens, I think, in Manchester had 13 up the other day. Yeah. So
I love Dairy Queen.
I do
too. So
that's why I haven't got kicked out. Okay.
I started working at McDonald's in 1994, maybe, I don't know, that sounds about right. 1994, maybe 1993. I think I started at $4.35 an hour. I think when I left, I was at like $5.15. But the thing what you have to remember back then is a condo in Manchester, like the one I live in now, those were going for $40,000 to $50,000. Yeah. Now they're going for over $200,000.
Yeah.
So you raise the minimum wage. I'm sorry, but everything else will increase in price. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's the people angry right now because you don't raise the minimum wage and they're making, they're getting whatever. They've got their retirement or they've got their Social Security or you've got your disability from whatever. And if it doesn't go up compared to the minimum wage, then all of a sudden they're looking at, I have a friend who's on disability. He'd like to get back into the workforce, but I think his son is making more money than him now working at a grocery. His 17, 18-year-old son is making more money than him working at a grocery store.
Well, I look out. I have a degree, and you have a degree. I look out and I see these people that are digging ditches.
Yeah.
Or plumbing. They're making more money than I did.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, you can't get work done on your house right now. No. And there's plenty of contractors that are like low-level contractors, guys that are paid to pick up scrap, this and that, who are getting 20, 25, 30 bucks an hour.
Where I bartend, there's guys that do that, contractors, and that they're hiring. They can't get enough help, and
they can't get enough.
Just the other day, he's talking to another guy that wasn't working in the bar, and he's telling him, "You want to help me out? $25 an hour."
There you go, $25 an hour.
25.
And you're talking like right, exactly. And the introduction stuff you do as a contractor. I used to do contracting back in the day too. I built some decks. Yeah. Like, I mean, you're picking up scrap. You're doing stuff like that, and you're talking $25 an hour is $50,000 a year,
which isn't bad.
My neighbor that lives next door, he owns a moving company.
Sure.
He says, and he starts about at $25 an hour. He said he can't even get the help.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think with the unemployment the way it is, and they're getting that $300.
Well, it's over now, and quite frankly, Manchester. I saw a list recently that had Manchester as one of the lowest unemployments in the entire country. We were like 1.6% or 1.8%. So we don't have enough workers right now in Manchester.
I thought New Hampshire's the lowest unemployment in the country.
Right, it is. But Manchester and Nashville were even lower than most of the state.
Wow.
I'm also very much in favor of rent control.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think people that are charging were not Boston.
Right.
Yeah, but the problem is the reason that rent is so high is partially because of government intervention.
Exactly.
I mean, we're
the vouchers. That's
right.
what makes the rent go up, because they know if they can get, we'll say, $900 guaranteed by the government, then they're going to want the tenant to pay another $200 or $300, and that just
it's not just that. So you've got that. You have many people who are getting essentially they're getting Section 8 housing or whatever, half their rent is paid for. You've got this eviction moratorium. There's people that have jobs that are making plenty of money that are just not paying their rent because they just see it as that they're going to get a free year of rent and they're going to go find some other place to rent after this is done. But then you've got big corporations. Like you have people like who own lots of rental properties, like honestly, like the Jared Kushners of the world. And a lot of these companies have gotten PPP, they've gotten other government money, they've gotten Main Street money from New Hampshire. So the government is essentially paying these people not to rent or to keep these rents high. They don't care. And it's the same thing that's happened with college. Government intervention has helped raise the cost of college. I mean, when I went to Keene State College, it was about $4,000 a year for tuition. Now it's like $15,000 a year. Okay, I'm not that old.
I paid $1,500 a year.
There you go. And my dad, I think, paid $300 because he got 50% off because my mom worked at the college.
And that helped. And then when I went to hairstyling school, I've been in a lot of education. And today, the hairstyling school is between $15,000 and $20,000. I paid $1,500.
Jeez.
For the same amount of education.
Yeah.
You know. And I did especially take care of people that died. I loved it.
Oh.
until they turned the mic on and said, I look just fine. And my son had gotten in there and turned the mic on, and I get flying out that door, But, I blame politicians? Absolutely. But you know what? I also blame the people that keep re-electing. I mean, Pelosi's been in there how many years?
Yeah.
Biden's been in there how many years? People
70s.
do not study the qualifications. They just, that's okay. We'll do it this way.
The Democrats definitely stay in a lot longer than Republicans do.
And I think there should be a time limit.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, then again, too, look at the Democrats, their districts. Well, first of all, they're substandard, but it's because it's all giveaways. So what do the people do? They, they dumb everyone down. They don't want anybody to have an education. What do they? Oh, they're paying my rent. I'm getting free clothes.
Yeah.
I'll vote them back in.
One thing I'm also looking at you, too, you've gone through a lot of emotional crisis within yourself, but you never show it.
I'm a blank page.
Right. No one's ever going to know the true you. Only what you want them to know.
I feel like that there's a girl or two out there
And
that
you don't.
might argue with you on that one.
But the one thing about it is you're a very open book. Do you have a child?
No. Not that I know of.
Okay, let's. Because the one thing emotionally, I'm seeing a lot of healing coming to you emotionally. Don't get upset not that easy. I am concerned about your blood pressure, because when you get going, your blood pressure gets shooting right up.
They just upped my blood pressure medication.
Okay. You have your mother tendencies.
Probably.
Okay.
But I have her and my grandfather's hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I have my dad's hair.
I have nobody's hair.
But I do believe that you're going to come out with it. I'm not going to tell you you're going to win all. I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is I'm looking at 97% to 95 to 97% that you're going to carry it out well.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, Pappas has got too much of a BS name.
Yeah. Well, if I end up running, statistically, I mean, most likely I'll be running against Andy Custer. But there's always a possibility of running against Pappas, and there's always a possibility I'm going to run against Pappas in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe for governor.
Yeah. And I do see you actually running for governor.
Yeah.
Would you accept that role?
I mean, in the future, obviously, I'm focused on Congress right now, and
one of the main things that I do see with you is that you will be one of the very, very few honest people that will fight for your state.
Yeah, I try to be.
And I will tell you that if I didn't think that either, I would tell you that too.
Sometimes my honesty doesn't work in the Republican Party. They don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, they're rhinos. Come on. They all want to make themselves look good.
Sometimes it's not every issue is like conservative or not conservative. I mean, there's somewhere you can always argue, like the death penalty, for example, because most of the ardent people against the death penalty I know are some of the most conservative people I know, because obviously, I don't know if you know this, but Manchester, New Hampshire is kind of a Catholic city. And so, yeah, believe it or not. I was a minority at West High School, being first off, because I'm Canadian, but I'm not French Canadian. And so, I was kind of a minority in high school. But I mean, and that's always been one of those issues where I say, well, I don't think that there's a Republican versus Democrat, that there's a conservative versus non-conservative on that, because you can have very conservative issues for being against the death penalty.
I'm not in favor of the death penalty.
I'm not either.
I'm not either.
I'm Catholic.
There you go.
No, I mean, Michael, what's his name now? Addison?
Yeah, Michael Addison, yeah.
Okay. He's been in prison now for 10, 15 years now,
forever,
right? If you're going to do the death penalty, do it and get it over with.
Yeah, and it's never, right, exactly.
I like the way I watch a lot of the Rifleman, I watch a lot of the old cowboy one. Bam, bam, you're dead, you walk away.
But there was more of a reason for it back then. I mean, because you put a lot of your resources to prison, and, now it's the same amount of resources, time, effort. When we talk about appeals, we want to be right, but when we put this much money into it, we're not saving anything.
No.
You're not saving any money for anybody. You know what I mean? At a time, you used to hang a horse thief, but the reason is in the Old West, your horse was your lifeblood and your ability to go out now. Because if someone stole your horse, it could essentially kill you. If someone steals your car today, it's not going to kill you.
No. But that stealing a horse can be in debt is still on the books.
Oh, I'm sure in many states, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. I mean, right here in New Hampshire.
Oh, really?
And the cops, this person I know got caught. He had too much to drink, and he stole the guy's horse. And they told him, he said, you could get the death penalty for that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'd be angry if somebody stole my horse.
Yeah, me too. Well,
I would imagine if I did own a horse, I'd have an emotional attachment to it. And I'd be pretty mad if somebody took it.
Yeah. And another time I was out, one thing I do think when people are going hunting, they need to know what the animal looks like.
Right.
There was a person that came in from Moulton Burlington, Laconia, and here comes this farmer coming driving like a bat out of hell, blowing the horn. This guy from Massachusetts, oh, look what I have. Don't you like my deer? It was a prize bull.
Oh, jeez.
To me, there's no excuse. If you don't know your animal, don't go hunting.
Yeah.
My uncle was killed in a hunting
accident.
And they actually was really weird because that was back in the 50s.
Yeah.
God, I'm getting old. And they put the bullet went through his hand, but they didn't have the stuff they had today to save his life. And it was his own son. His son to this day.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
One of the things I also will tell you is that I do see, are you ready to do a lot of campaigning?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, because you are going to have to do a lot more. And like coming on the show, I hope you'll come back again because I think you're cool. Maybe we can get Sean to come and sit on the next one.
Possibly.
We never know. There, he just smiles away.
Maybe Sean will be the one running for governor.
Actually, he is going to get more into the political field. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs for state senate.
I think he's probably been asked multiple times, even before he was not even old enough to run.
No. Your home is very important to you. You know what I mean? Like your home base is very important to you. You own your own condo, right?
So yeah, I have a condo. Yeah.
Your dad owns his own house.
Yeah. So a couple of them, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it's also very important to you too because it's really, even though you may live in Washington, but you're always going to feel the need to come back.
I don't feel that I will live in Washington. I definitely don't plan on buying anything there.
No, I mean renting.
I mean, I don't even know if I'd rent. I think I would just stay at the Comfort Inn or they have those
yes, well, a hotel.
You could sleep in your office.
Yeah, you can sleep in your office. I probably wouldn't want to sleep in my office. I mean, I'm a big points guy, because I travel a lot for work. So I do all my points with the hotels. I'm at the highest elite, for Marriott, IGH. American Airlines. And the thing is what people don't understand. You walk onto a plane, you see a guy first class. He didn't pay for that first class ticket. He got bumped up for free because he flies all the time. During COVID, I was flying every week. And I had somebody say something to me about it. I was like, I make pharmaceuticals for a living. What do you want me to do? Stay home? We're trying to...
You got a big contract coming from England.
No, that would be interesting.
When I say a big contract, I mean a big one. Because the people are going to like you put out great work, okay? You really do, and you always stand behind whatever you put out, okay? And your dad's quite a perfectionist and everything, isn't he?
Yeah, some things. Paying our taxes, he's a perfectionist at.
Yeah, you're more of a perfectionist at work, okay? And your mom, bless her heart, she has everything done the way she's used to having it done. And I wouldn't want to defy her either. Something tells me that she can let you know in no uncertain terms. Okay, but your mom, I'm going to tell you, is very proud of you. Okay. Do you have a sister as well?
Yes, I do.
She's more quiet than you are.
Unless you get her drinking.
But I mean in the political field. Okay.
Yeah, she is. Actually, though, she surprised me the other day because we were talking about congressmen and she knew who Byron Donalds was, and I was very surprised. But
she too.
She actually started to get a little political because Cuomo wanted to build a first responder memorial near her. Yeah. I mean, when I say first responder memorial near her, she legitimately lives right next to the Freedom Tower. And I was like, the entire, Freedom Tower area is a first responder memorial. Right. So, and their problem with it was every time there's a piece of green space, Cuomo wants to build a new statue. And it's not about the first responders. It's because it gets named after him.
Right.
So that's where it's been going. But now maybe Cuomo's not going to be into building statues to himself. He's got other issues to deal with.
You know what? Nothing's going to happen out of this.
No.
You know it. I know it.
Yeah,
Okay, it's if people are going to do the talk, let's do the walk.
Yeah.
I mean, look what Clinton has done to us.
Yeah.
And all them people. But Marzari, how you pronounce it, Casey?
But I mean, didn't we have to rename the bridge there the Tappan Zee? Isn't that now like the Cuomo Bridge, like the Mario Cuomo Bridge?
That's right.
I mean, come on, like seriously. So you're getting rid of the Tappan Zee, which is just a fun name to say. And it's like, so now it's a Mario, like, because everything needs to be named Mario Cuomo. I mean, listen, I don't live in New York. I mean, that's up to New Yorkers to decide if they want everything to
I
be
think
named
New
Cuomo.
Yorkers they're waking up.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
An abundance. You have a lot of abundance of energy.
Yeah.
You don't require a lot of sleep.
No.
But when you
But I
do,
do like
they're not
getting
going to
sleep.
wake you up.
Yeah.
Okay? Do you have a cat?
No, I wish I did, though.
You got one coming.
Well, that would be great.
Okay.
I think my parents might disagree with you thinking that's great because I travel so much that they'd be taking care of it.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Yeah, mumble.
They'd get attached to it, too.
Yeah. I don't see a dog, but I do see a cat.
No, I'd love a new dog, too.
Yeah, okay.
Our dog recently passed.
Yeah. And that dog was very spoiled by you and the parents.
Yeah, probably by my dad.
It was a rescue dog.
Nope. No, it was a purebred golden retriever.
Well, like I said, it was a rescue dog. Had your family not gotten this dog, that dog would not have lived as long as it did.
He did live quite a while.
Okay. See, a lot of people
Cat
don't
lived
know.
longer.
Yeah.
22 years, I
Yeah,
think.
my cat was 22 years.
Wow.
My Chihuahua was 16 years.
That's a good. I mean, Chihuahuas do live longer.
With a lot of love and attention.
That's a good length. I wouldn't mind getting a smaller dog. One of the things I would look at is like what were the little not a Yorkie, but the Scottish Terrier, something like that.
Yeah.
I like those.
Actually,
You can take it on the plane with
There
you. The
you
small
go.
dogs. There's always room.
The guy, one of the TV executives here that works here in the office, he actually gave me my Chihuahua. Because I had just lost a dog, and he gave me that one.
No, Chihuahuas are pretty good dogs. They're
one-person dog.
Yeah.
They are.
And would let Scott take him out for a walk or whatever.
Yeah.
But the minute it got home, and I used to watch for me to come home from doing the TV show, and they know, I definitely will tell you that. And I also will tell you, I do see you with a companion, but not right away. I'm not saying you're not going to date. I mean, after all, you're only human, But I don't see you having a strong, serious relationship for maybe 10 years.
Wow, 10 years.
It doesn't because you're political, you're energetic, and and you're not have time to devote because you're a person. No matter what project you're on, you will always be ready for Congress. It takes a consuming time for you. You're very devoted to your family, and that's very important to you, and your sister as well. Okay. And she's bragging about how you're running for Congress.
I hope so.
Does she live in New York?
Yep, New York City, right next to the Freedom Tower.
And she's actually moving.
Well, I mean, moving or buying a house in the Hamptons. She keeps saying she's buying a house in the
house.
Hamptons. Yeah.
It's going to be a nice house.
I would imagine so. Apparently, my brother-in-law does quite well for himself. He's kind of a big deal.
She doesn't even have to. She'll have a housekeeper, like a live-in housekeeper.
Yeah, that sounds like. Oh, so you know my sister? Just one housekeeper?
Well, for now. Okay, but she also has children, right?
She just had her first son about 6 months ago, I think. So it was in October. That's about 6 months ago.
I actually look at a nanny.
Yeah.
But she'll make a great mom. She is a great mom. You're going to make a great uncle.
Thank you.
Okay. And I actually see you going to New York to visit the child. Okay. Your parents are very proud. Look what we got. We finally got a grandchild.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. And that's our job, being grandparents. My granddaughter will be 22. And I can't believe when she was 8 years old, we used to go everywhere to get her nail. Now they go their own way. I also going to caution you down near Hampton Beach, to watch your speed.
Yeah.
Okay. Because your mind wanders when you're driving at times. Okay.
I have a very fast truck.
Yeah. Okay. And you're also, when you're on, you have a speakerphone, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hands-free.
Yeah, so when you're talking, you don't always pay attention to the driving. So I want you to make sure you don't go through a red light and run into somebody.
Yeah.
Believe me, they will play it up big time. So, unfortunately, in what I do and what you do, we almost have to be above reproach. But that's the path you chose. Even before you came here, okay, you knew the path before you came here. You chose your parents, okay? And I wish there's a way, my friend and I were talking about this last week. We know how our path is. Do we remember it? No, when we get here, it might hit you. But you're also, even in your past life, you were quite the old soul. Yeah. You're always in the political modes, okay? And there's a lot of royalty behind you, okay? Your dad has always worked very hard for what he has. And he doesn't take it for granted, okay? He's pretty good. Who's more conservative, your mother or him?
You know what? Honestly, it really depends on what the.
You're not.
It depends on what the subject is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like, and that's why we say like certain things aren't about being conservative or liberal. If you're talking about like border security, like, well, it's my mom that's more of the border hawk. But I mean, because she's also an immigrant. I mean, she went through the actual system, and when people are cheating the system, she gets more angry about it. So. I guess it probably a lot of social issues. My father would probably be more conservative than my mother, but so it just really depends. And
yeah. Well, Ross Terrell, you know Ross Terrell?
Mm-hmm,
okay. Yeah. His family, his wife is from, I think, Brazil or some other foreign country. Lovely, lovely people. And there again, folks. You can make it. Your mom made it. She got into the political world.
Yeah, she got elected, and then she graduated from college here, and she, just retired from working for Dell. Okay. So she worked in the tech industry.
One of the things that's great is you can come here with a lot of American dreams, and they can make it. And it's the ones who come here and and I'm not saying all of them, that want to create a habit. Or they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and the so-called liberals or lefties, okay, we're going to encourage you to do this instead of having to sit down and work for a living. Can you imagine if we all got along, what a beautiful place this would be? But it's not going to happen.
Well,
one of the things I'm also looking with you too, sir, is that I don't see you having children when you meet a relationship. Now you're going to get married, yeah, but it's going to be later in life, okay? But I don't see you having children. You may adopt.
Maybe I'll adopt a cat.
Yeah, there you go. Now, hey, one thing about
can I get this cat?
Animals, they don't turn on you like people do. Well, cats, if they don't get their own way, they have their own mind. But I also see you buying another condo as an investment.
That's a possibility.
Okay, you know how to make your money work for you. Okay, you want to tell people who you are and what you're doing?
Sure. My name's Robert Burns. I'm running for Congress, District 2. You can find my website, burns4nh.com, and you can spell that with an F-O-R or a number 4, or just Google it. And I'm running for Congress.
And you're on Facebook?
I am on Facebook, Twitter. You use the Google, and you're going to find everything. It's going to come to you.
That's how I did it. Yeah. And folks, I believe when he was so quick and responded back to me, he will respond back to you.
Oh, sure.
Don't flood him with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's always certain comments that you just can't respond to people back to because they're, off the rails. But people have legitimate questions or want to meet me or have interviews like this one, and
Do you know Bill Berry?
Yeah.
I don't hold that party against him, even though he's a Democrat. But he and I are good friends.
Yeah.
And he and I worked hard to get that park improvement.
I haven't seen Bill in years.
I have a lot of confidence in him.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Don't judge the people by their party. Judge them by themselves. The one thing I don't like is when I went to vote, they wouldn't let me wear my red hat in, make America great. But yet, Lou Del Cindro wore his Biden mask.
He wanted your.
No, he wore a Biden mask.
They shouldn't have let him.
No, so technically, because I was a selectman, wearing just a Make America Great Again hat again isn't expressly political. It's not a Trump hat. You're not supposed to wear the logos and stuff of the campaign. So that one's a gray area. I had somebody tell me I couldn't wear my New Hampshire Fisher Cats hat when I went to go vote, and I just walked past the guy. Well, so do you remember that the original name of the team was the Primaries? The New Hampshire primaries.
No.
So they have primaries hats. So one's a donkey. And one's,
Oh, really?
Yeah, one's Uncle Sam, one's a donkey, and one's an elephant. Yeah. But it's like, and I told the guy, I said, it's a New Hampshire Fisher Cats hat. There's no way I'm taking it off. Yeah. It's not expressly political, and that's not what your rules say. It wasn't for a certain candidate. Now, like, technically you can wear like a Biden mask if it's a city election because he's not on the ballot. Yeah. They just don't want voter intimidation inside, and then there is a bit of a gray area. And I admit that the Make America Great Again hat is a gray area, but it's not expressly for a candidate. So
I was kind of hoping they wouldn't. I wasn't going to take it off.
Yeah.
But then I said,
yeah,
it's not. Is it worth my time?
I stopped Democrats before from wearing their like lapel stickers and stuff like that in there. It's actually not usually a big issue, like most people.
This guy, and I'll never forget. I was walking in the door, and the guy comes over. You gotta take that hat off.
Yeah.
I go, why? Because you gotta take that hat off. I said, but what about him? Oh, that's different. He's a senator.
Oh yeah, because that's different.
Okay.
So which ward was this? Was 10?
10, yeah.
10, yeah. I used to work in 12 all the time.
Yeah. Do I support voter ID? Absolutely. Yeah. I've always had to show ID when I voted.
Yeah, I don't.
I never did till I moved here.
That's why I don't understand it, because in New Hampshire you have to show ID.
Yeah.
And a place of address.
It's so funny. You go to some places, like I do a lot of work in Puerto Rico, and like their licenses look so chintzy, but then their voter ID was like super solid, and it's like, like they have voter ID there because people would cheat if you didn't have it.
Yeah. And when I don't like it, I got my certificate for the COVID virus, so I got my shots, and they show it. They don't do that when the people had the flu shots. No. They don't do it when they people go for the chicken pox shot or whatever. I got to go get a single shot. Am I going to get a big certificate saying that, oh, yahoo, I got my shot?
Well, so like in schools, you're supposed to sometimes, I guess, show this. But I mean, all your vaccination card is legitimately, mine was filled out by my mom. They just say he was vaccinated on this day. I mean, there's no real. But even these CDC cards that show that you've been vaccinated, they're not proof of vaccination.
No.
I mean, they're chintzy. They're not. There's no proof there.
That's what you people. Some places you go, not around here, thank God, but
Is that what they're really doing now? They're really like, you got to show that.
Your CDC card. Well, in New York City, they just started
but anybody can just download one.
Yeah, I can. I had one of them.
I don't think it's expressly illegal to do that either. I mean, obviously, certain documentation you're not allowed to forge, but I don't think that there's any law against that.
Yeah.
I can remember.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to. All these HIPAA laws came from HIV. It was the liberals that pushed all these HIPAA laws that now they want to push out against.
Exactly right.
I mean, this whole like not being able to ask certain medical information, all this medical privacy. This all came from HIV. This all came from HIPAA laws. And back then, you had. This is where Republicans and Democrats have flipped. You had Republicans that said we need to, have a list of everybody who's infected, and liberals and Democrats said no, you can't do that. It's outing people, and now, now. It's like the exact opposite. Now you've got like liberals saying that we need to know everybody who's infected, and everybody just changed their opinion on it.
Yeah. Well, to me, I do a lot of private counseling, and confidentiality to me is very important.
Yeah.
I will not violate their trust. The only thing I tell them is if you come in here and we're going to talk, and you're going to tell me you hurt a child, or you killed someone, or you beat your wife up and your mother, I'm turning you over to the law. I don't put up with stuff like that, Because I'm always amazed at the people that come in my office have been sexually abused.
Yeah.
Always amazed. You see when the bishop got busted?
Yeah.
And he was a highly respected bishop.
They always are.
He said Mass Sunday.
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought he was supposed to be gone.
No, the only one that can sort of quote-unquote fire him is the Pope.
Oh.
Hierarchical system.
I think religion is the most vile when they teach hate.
They don't.
They don't teach hate?
They don't.
Yeah.
They sure do.
They don't.
I've met plenty of Christians that hate, but plenty of Christians that don't. I mean,
right. When I say the word
bag.
religion, because the Catholics, they get upset if you marry a Protestant. The Protestant gets upset if you
marry.
And that to me is concerning hate.
That's. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's expressly coming from the Pope these days.
Oh, no, the Pope, he's nothing.
I mean, are you still going to find people like that? Sure. I mean, my mom couldn't go to CCD dances when she was a kid because, we were Protestant Scottish, and we had that whole Jacobite rebellion back in the day, which is still like a thing in Scotland, like the Catholics versus the Protestants.
See, that's why I called it a hate, because they're like if he found a young lady and she was Protestant, he's Catholic, technically he couldn't get married.
Right.
Yeah, and like,
or if you do, you bring up your children Catholic.
Yeah. Or like I was one of those born again Christian, and I followed the Bible, I know. And then when they told me that I was going to go to hell because I was married more than once, and my son was illegitimate, I never saw my ex-wife explode like she did that.
Yeah.
And I don't like Christianity and the Bible when they judge people.
Yeah.
I don't have the right to. You don't have the right.
Well, my mom was actually raised Baptist, and but we were Universalist Unitarian. Not Universalist Unitarian. We were what's it called? The UCC Church, United Church of Christ.
Yeah.
And but my Nana, I remember she was a Unitarian. I don't know when Universalists added to the Unitarian, but she was big into the Unitarian church. I do remember going to the Unitarian church with my Nana when I was little and do stuff too. Which that church, I don't know. That's really not even a religion anymore, is it? I don't know what it is. The last time I went inside a Unitarian church, I saw Andrew Yang there.
Yeah. I used to have mine at the Unitarian church over on.
It's the strangest thing for Democrats to have a function at a church. I just always think that's like. I realize it's not a real religion, so it's like we're just pretending that we're religious.
I actually did my first psychic event, not my first, but three of my psychic events at the Universal Church.
Yeah.
And
is that the one that they fly the?
There's always a rainbow flag. Yeah, there's always a rainbow flag out front.
Okay, that's
And I went there. I made more money there for charity than I did. But then I went to have another one.
Yeah.
They went for $450 to rent a hall to $950.
Because they knew you made a ton of money.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
The sad part is with religion is, and I should say religion, any type of church, it's all about money.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's a bit. You have to keep the business going. Yeah. Of course, it has to be about money.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to keep it, there. And I mean, you say that, but I mean, what would we do if we traveled across Europe and the Catholics weren't so good at bringing in money and building these cathedrals? What would we have to look at in Milan? Because seriously, past that, I guess you can go shop for Gucci, and there's only so much Noke and pizza you can eat.
I haven't bought Gucci's in years, But
so you go to the Sistine Chapel, right, and then you go to the big Milan Cathedral, and then you see the one, where the I think it's is it John?
I don't like it when they force you to do it. Yeah. Oh, you're going to sign this paper because you're going to get 10% of your paycheck or whatever. And my belief is, if you want to have church, all well and good, but have it come from the heart.
I know, but you gotta pay the bills.
Yeah.
I don't know. The churches I go to, I haven't seen that in years. About 10%
the forced tithing and stuff.
Income. It's just always.
Now that's why I went to confession, and then the preacher, all he kept saying was, "Oh my." Then what did you do? Oh my goodness! I got them all shook up because I was hungover.
Well, I mean, like I said, I actually dated a Catholic at one point, I think. Yeah, must have. And I mean, it's and I grew up with Catholics and stuff. And that one always fascinated me, is people going to confession. I mean, I've never done that. Sean, how's your confessions go?
The church would fall down.
A lot of oh my's.
One of the, and the one thing I don't care what religion you are. Mm-hmm. If you're going to preach it, live it.
Yeah.
Don't go, well, God told me to tell you that you're going to hell because you had 3 martinis, but yet you go
Jeez,
home and
did you go to a Baptist church?
Oh, I sure did. I went to one of the whole.
Because that sure wasn't a Catholic church.
No. I've been in the born again Christian churches. Yeah. I've been in Congregationalist. Yeah. I kind of practice Buddhism. Yeah. And I've been Catholic, you name it, I've been in all.
So, I mean, when I used to go to church a lot as a kid, it was the one in Amherst. It was a UCC church, and it's considered fairly liberal by certain standards. It's not like, I mean, there's some UCC churches that are crazier than other UCC churches. It doesn't have like a really strong centralized, central UCC philosophy. I think they're these congregational churches, and and I think the individual churches kind of like go off in their own way. Yeah, and unlike some of the larger, like the SBC or Southern Baptists. We
had 3 young men from the Mormon Church come on. I gotta tell you, I never respected any type of person until I met them. They didn't force their beliefs on us, but they knew what they were talking about.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And they were very respectful. In fact, I'm going to have them back on again. Yeah. I can remember I used to have this one woman, bless her heart, and she would say to me, "No, man." I go, "What? Jesus loves you, no, man." I said, "Well, I'm glad somebody does." And she and I went, when I first started my TV show, Joe, who is one of the directors here, came over. We did the half hour there with her and I debating without even being on the show. I will never, ever tell someone they're wrong. What I will say to them is, if you're going to preach it, live it. That's like, if you're going to be a politician, be honest about what you're doing. Yeah. Don't be all talk. Don't talk out of both sides of your mouth. You know what I mean?
I got a good Utah story, speaking of Mormons. So I was out in Utah, I think one of my first time, I was probably about 22, 23. I was actually going to that Autoleaf company, which is Morton Thiokol. They make the rocket engines out in the middle of the desert there. Promontory Point, where the east met the west, the railroad. It's right near there. And so I remember going out to dinner one night, and I was and actually there's a lot of Mexican food out there. A great Mexican restaurant called the Red Iguana, if you're ever out in Utah. But I went to one that was closer to where I was out near Promontory Point or Ogden, I forget where I was. And this was, this was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Well, back then restaurants, I guess, didn't really have alcohol in them in Utah. And I went to a place called Margaritas, like downstairs, and I ordered a margarita. And she brought something out, and it was kind of brown and fizzling, and then I drank it, and I go, like, is it a stupid question? I'm like, is there alcohol in this? And she's like, oh, no, you can't get alcohol in the restaurants here. You got to go to the golf club, which is a private club, and sign up. And I was like, oh, no, okay, it's fine. Wow. But I thought it was like, is this the dumbest question anybody's ever asked? But the last couple times I've been to Utah now, they have they have breweries, and, downtown Ogden's beautiful now. Really, really great city. I love Ogden, Utah. Yeah.
I really believe that I do see you selling your business, to be honest with you, and it's going to be worthwhile. Okay. But I do see a lot of connection with England. Do you do any business in England?
Oh, sure. I used to live in England.
Really?
Yeah.
But I do see you getting a good contract. See, the one thing about you that as you are running for that political office in Ghana, you've been there. You've done it. You know how to approach the people from other countries. And I think that's truly important.
Yeah, I think that is an important quality.
You know how to relate to the people. Otherwise, your business wouldn't be as successful as it is, okay? And I think that's important, Also, you support what you believe in, whether it's political, whatever, your own personal life or whatever, okay? And I think that's truly important because I just have a good feeling about you getting into that.
Yeah, thank you.
Runner-up, okay? If we can make Chris, whatever, Barracuda there, admit to the truth about what he's doing, it would be a lot different.
Well, one of the problems with Chris Pappas is, if I end up bringing, he's just a very platitude-y guy. He's, he loves his talking points without any real substance. That's been problematic of him. And then, it's even like what's going on with Cuomo right now. Like, I wouldn't have blamed him for not saying anything about it. I mean, it's kind of a New York problem. It has nothing to do with New Hampshire, and there's plenty of stuff that we can comment and do about New Hampshire issues that we don't do. And I always feel like that's just that you're just playing a part. And, it's kind of funny because you brought up the Buckley situation. It wasn't that long ago that major Democrats were asking Ray Buckley to resign.
Right.
And he didn't do that. And remember when major Republicans were asking Ray Burton to resign? And then when Ray Burton died, they're at his funeral saying all these wonderful things about him. These people who were absolutely demanding his resignation. And then we're supposed to believe these politicians and the things they say.
Ray was a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't know
Yeah,
him.
he was.
Yeah,
But I mean, I remember when every major Republican in the state asked him to resign.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it.
Let me ask you, which is worse, the Watergate mess with Richard Nixon, or what's going on now today?
Oh, well, probably. Well, depend. What do you? Which issue that's going on today? And then I would probably say yes, whatever's going on today.
Richard Nixon admitted to what he
Well,
did.
I know, and I understand what happened during Watergate, but compared to a lot of the things that have happened today,
doubt.
like Obama and Fast and the Furious, let's say, or what Biden's doing at the southern border and putting these kids in cages, and then claiming he's not putting kids in cages, but he's putting them in cages, like.
Do you see where Obama is going to have a birthday present and a birthday party at his mansion?
Yeah, he doesn't care.
400 to 600 people are
No,
going
he
to be
changed
there.
it now. It's only going to be 70.
Yeah.
Oh,
Super spreader event.
He succumbed to the what do they call it?
But this has been the problem. It's
Throwback.
like, liberals want forced mask mandates, and it's like, you can just wear a mask if you want to, right? And it's like, well, no, I'm not going to wear a mask unless everybody else is wearing a mask. And it's like, well, that doesn't even make sense. Either you think masks work and you want to wear a mask, or you don't wear a mask.
Yeah. Out of respect for my daughter-in-law, when I go to market basket, I wear a mask.
Okay.
And I'll wear a mask when we go in for dinner places.
And you have the right to do it.
Yeah. One lady said, "I got my shot, so I have the right not to allow anybody that hadn't had that shot into my house." I said, "Absolutely right, but I don't have to allow you because you had the shots and come into my house."
True, that's true too.
And then there's so many things about the shots that are really scary.
I got 2 stories about the shot. I had to go to grand jury last week down in Mass. So I usually have masks in my car. I didn't have a mask. I says, oh no, 'cause I'm a steno too. So 2 spaces over, there's a worker in a truck, and I just go, and I'm an older guy. So I said to him, I said, sir, I said, would you happen to have an extra mask? So we started talking. So he says, what are you going in the courthouse? I said, yeah. He says, oh, you're not vaccinated? I says, no. So then he says, you have to wear a mask if you're not vaccinated. I said, no, everybody has to wear a mask in the court. He starts telling me about he had gotten the vaccination, and he says, a buddy of mine says, after you get vaccinated, if you put a magnet where you got vaccinated, it will stick to the vaccination site. He's showing me photos of it. And then he says after he got the vaccine, his daughter did. He's showing me pictures of her where she got vaccinated and they stuck a magnet to it.
Yeah, except there's one problem.
What?
Microchips aren't magnetic.
Well, how come the magnet?
They're made from silicon and gold.
How come the magnet stuck? But
I mean, anybody can get a magnet to stick to them.
But they do shine up under our black light.
I got that too because I posted it on Facebook about the magnet sticking there, and then that's people were responding about. And if you put a black light up to your jab site, it glows.
You know what, Dave? You want to tell them your website? I'm going to do that.
Oh, lowellmediumshop.com, or you can get me David B. Biffid, Biffid, at yahoo.com, 617-777-2236. Give me a call.
Okay. And mine is Spiritual Visionary, not none as it says on there. I'm on Facebook. You can call me at my house at area code 603-289-4789, or you can call Scott at 785 1684, and we'll be very happy to talk to you. I love these people, and they will tell you too. That's my boyfriend loves me, or that's my girlfriend loves me, or and we're going to be married for a long time. And I'm there. If you don't know, then I can't help you.
There's already a problem if you're asking.
Really, I know.
It's like when you go to a restaurant, if you got to ask how much, right?
Yeah.
Really. I mean, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah. You know, I love going out to dinner, you know, and like that too. So out of respect for like when I go with my daughter-in-law, I don't wear my Trump hat. I don't, and because, you know, it's not fair. I have my own beliefs. Like if he and I go in, that's a different story because we're on the same particle. And you have a website, do you not?
Yes, burns4nh.com. So that's with either FOR or the number 4. So BURNSFORNH.com.
Okay, and you're on Facebook.
On Facebook. Find
And
me
you
in
accept
Google.
donations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'd be surprised. Do you know Don Balda?
I do know Don Bulldog.
He's coming in 2 weeks.
Is he?
Yeah, coming on.
I saw him the other night.
He and Gerard are coming on in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Rich. Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Gerard at large.
Yeah. Hey, we actually get along okay. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. We didn't for a while, but you know what? I may not always agree with it, but I want him to have the right to express how he feels. Okay. And Victoria Sullivan's supposed to come on next week. So
Yeah.
see what she had very disturbing comments to make to me about Gerard, and I sent them over to Gerard.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, you know. I'm not going to take sides. Do I love having debates and stuff like that? Absolutely. If I could get Pappas to debate with you, I would be in my glory. And I know you would.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't respond if you contact him about the southern border.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'd love, if I could arrange it, and I'll arrange it with you, if I could find a way to arrange it, I would have Pappas come on and we could have a good debate.
Oh, and I'd sit back here and watch. I'd love to see
Oh,
that.
you'd be in there.
We do like Lincoln Douglas debates.
Right.
Just 6 hours.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 hours, so. But I would
The
find
union
that
leader will be
Apple-
writing, 3 pages about it.
Yeah, and that's okay. But then I really feel that William Lowe must be turning over in his grave.
Yeah.
He was an old-fashioned, strong Republican. I bet your dad must have known him.
I would assume so. I mean, my grandfather probably
My foster father knew him too.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, whoever Loeb backed up would win.
Yeah.
If he said that you were going to win and he backed you up, you can count on it.
My dad was out of the state, from whatever, like 69 to... No, it would have been before 69. It would have been 60. Well, he was in the Navy for 8 years.
Right.
Then he came back to go to UNH.
You know what I like
7
about
years,
him? He was a working, and he still is, a working class person that made a lot. All this work, of course, you're white privilege. You know that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm as white and privileged as they come.
Well, I had a lady ask me about
They're going to use that against me, though, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way to run from it.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't be at all surprised if some of the Democrats are listening to what you're saying, But I had a lady the other day, she says to me, "Aren't you embarrassed to be white?" I go, "No, not at all." I said, "My white butt is privileged because I'm supporting you to go out and get a suntan or get one of what they call artificial tannings."
What I don't understand about all this white privilege isn't saying that white people are privileged, isn't that the same as saying white people are superior? I mean, it's if all of this stuff comes so easy to white people, like, isn't that the basis of white supremacy?
Right.
I mean, aren't all these people saying that, like, just merely me being white, I have all these, like, intrinsic advantages and stuff? I mean, how does a white person get all these advantages?
Yeah, that's
Because everybody in power and who runs everything is white. Well, how did that? And which isn't true. And we keep changing the definition of what white is as well. Like I never know what white is. I mean, you remember the old show All in the Family? Archie
I
Bunker?
love that. Yeah,
right. But I mean, like, he used to always have, like, and he would say what a regular American is, right? Yeah. But to like Archie Bunker, like, that didn't include like the Polish or the Italians or the Jewish or the Irish. Like, they weren't part of his like regular American terminology. And it's funny because I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and it's, when we talk about Cubans or Hispanics, like, somehow they're not white now. And I said, listen, Hispanics and Cubans have always been white because one of the first television programs that was on TV was I Love Lucy. And they would have never allowed an interracial marriage on television back then. So Desi Arnaz is clearly a white guy. Not great at English, but he does play the bongos.
Oh, yeah. And I often think of this when the BLM, I respect what they started out to respect.
Yeah.
Okay? I respect that. But now it's got so blown out of proportions that if a person, and I'm not trying to be racist when I say this, and mixed white and black blood in, and they call what, mulattoes or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
one of the words. I don't know if that's racist or not. I can't remember whether that term is allowed or not.
Does the BLM accept them?
They must. Oh, look at Obama.
No, there's, honestly, there's some people that are so racist that they don't. And there's many people on both sides that, they talk about this. Everybody's mixed blood. We've all been mixed at some point. I mean, none of us come from whatever the pure whateverness is supposed to be. Listen, my family name goes back to being Celtic, but I know that the ancient Celts were short, dark-featured people, okay? I have blue eyes. Like, clearly something happened. It probably had to do with Vikings. I think they came over to the, Scotland. They probably took my great-great-great-great-grandmother out for like, dinner and chocolates. Clearly something like that must have happened. Obviously I've got a lot of Nordic, blood in me, and because of whatever happened there. Although I do find it funny that a lot of these liberals like AOC and Bernie Sanders, they look at the Nordic countries and the socialism that's there, and they say these are like socialist utopias, which are the whitest countries in the world. Like, your Finland, your Sweden, your Norway, where they have like 80% like income taxes, and they've got Finland had, although I think they might have gotten rid of it, they had that, like what Andrew Yang wanted, the, where you get a check every month, guaranteed income. What do they call that, Sean? Universal guaranteed income? Yeah, universal guaranteed income. So
there is really a person out back there sitting in the chair, he's just camera shy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go for that. I mean, with my Social Security and the...
Yeah, but it's racist. It's only for Finnish people. And you have to join the military to get it.
Ah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of old for that now.
Because I don't agree with... a lot of the political views, like I don't agree with Antifa, I don't agree with all the other stuff. So I'd be called a bigot, I'd be called a racist, and all that other stuff. So I said to one guy, you talk about people being bigoted or, whatever. Back in the 50s and 60s, you couldn't be gay.
Yeah.
If you were, I'm actually linked to this or I'm actually linked to that, Have we made a lot of progress in accepting people who they are? Yes. But are we going overboard with it? Absolutely. Like, I don't believe in the gay pride day. I'm probably the most anti-gay person you ever met. Yeah. I don't think we should. I don't want any more of the rights that you have. Do you?
No, but a lot of them, that's what they want. Well, this Equality Act, what it really is the inequality.
Well, yeah, it's inequality. I mean, and that's what we're doing. And then, you're I mean, we see this actually. It was Cuomo's daughter came out. She's something.
Oh, yeah.
She's not gay. I don't know what she is. She came up with some word.
Yeah.
She's transsexual. She's something. Or dexosexual. Something. But everybody wants to feel the need to be different, and because only by being a oppressed subsection of a group, therefore that then you can blame everybody else as being the oppressor, and that's what everybody's striving for. When it's like high school, I used to listen to a lot of punk rock and stuff. Like, we were against the system, but like the people who think that they're so punk rock today are really just buying into the system. They're all part of the system, and they want to be accepted by the system, but being accepted by the system now is pretending to be different. But by pretending to be different, they all end up being the same.
I went to the original Woodstock.
Did you?
Oh my God.
Really?
If you look at the original movie of Woodstock, you'll see me running across the thing naked, so the curly hair. So.
Woodstock.
But anyways, every one of us, I couldn't hear. My mother used to say, foster mothers were like mothers were like my foster mother. I had a great mother. My mother died with a baby. This is why I don't have time to waste all my mother did this or my father did that. Get a life.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't have time to hear that, Yeah. I know what it's like not to be with parents or whatever. But anyway, my mother used to say, now that's not music, in the 50s and 60s and everything. Didn't we say, today I will say it's not music, but and each generation as they get older, the different type of music, And they're used to having like Lawrence Welk, who my mother every Saturday night, and I watch Lawrence Welk,
Well, it's interesting when you watch Woodstock the movie. Of course, there's that pinnacle point where Jimi Hendrix plays the national anthem. You can't even do that now. That's racist.
Yeah. Everything you've got to be, and for them to disrespect in the Olympics and disrespect our flag, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then Subway hires her.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Okay, now. We got a couple more, 2 more minutes. I want you to tell everybody you're going to close this out.
Okay.
So start talking.
All right. Oh, I'm closing it out. I got 2 minutes left. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on Bob's Corner. Although we didn't get the right graphic up tonight. It's again, I'm Bob. Next time. I'm Bob Burns. I'm running for CD2, candidate for Congress here in New Hampshire. Again, you can find my website at burns4nh.com, and that can be spelled with an FOR or the number 4. That's BURNSFORNH.com. And thank you guys for joining me today on Bob's Corner. You did really great tonight, and I hope to see you again in the future.
You'll be getting an invitation to come back on. Bring your mom in the next time.
Okay, there we go.
Because I'm sure she can chat a lot.
Yeah, you'll have to, get through that Canadian accent.
Oh, that's okay.
But she's a proud her first language is only English, but she'll say a lot of boots, and what's that all for?
But, and she wants to come on with it. That's awesome. If we can talk Shannon and coming on, maybe say hi to everybody.
Sean, next time.
The next time. You're going to come back on, right?
Well, when he's running for governor.
Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He's actually, is he a state rep now?
So he used to be a state rep.
But he's going to be again.
Yeah. He was a state rep like a decade ago.
Did you enjoy being a state rep?
If I have a second, I'll give a funny story. I brought Sean somewhere. I brought Sean somewhere, and it was actually to a bunch of state reps were there. They were part of a group with my dad in Bedford called the Men's Club, and one of them asked if Sean was my son, and my dad goes, "Oh, Representative Sean Doherty."
You didn't know you were that young looking, huh?
Yeah. He's like 30 something now.
Okay, so everybody, thank you for tuning in. We will be downloading this onto YouTube, probably, but I will send you when I get home. I'll send you a copy of this on there. And I am, folks, you want an honest, and this is from Norm's Community Court, and I always speak the truth. Well, nobody ever believes it, but that's okay. I would tell you wholeheartedly, you have our full support. And I know you have Dave's full support.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
And I live in the district, so.
There we go.
There you go. So see, I know my son will do because he's listening too. But everybody, you want honest government, and start here in New Hampshire by voting for the right people. See you all next week, folks.
Thank you.